All right, here we go. We're going in. Delaware Dan No Problem gave us on 3 cassette tapes. Delaware Dan No Problem gave us on 3 cassette tapes. Delaware Dan. No problem. No problem. No problem. Delaware Dan, no problem. So here we go. We go to a new episode.
No problem. Hey there, folks. It's Delaware Dan.
Welcome to the. Hey there, folks. It's Delaware Dan here. I'm on the subcontinent, Florida, and I was thinking about how they got all these different kind of ideas about what the world is and stuff. Different conspiracies and all that, theories and all that. And I was thinking about it. I think I realized my own conspiracy about this. Basically, I looked up in the sky and the clouds. They looked kind of like they were green screened in on front. They green screen on. They put a blue background and they green screen in the special effects and all that. I think that everything is green screen. That's what I think. It's like you could believe the earth is flat, whatever. I don't really give a shit. What I believe is that everything is green screen. Like when you look out the window, it's green screen out there. So just think about that when you're eating breakfast this morning or eating dinner if you're listening at night, or if you're working the night shift, you're sneaking a little pizza snack, that's cool too. Just think about when you look down at your hands, everything is green screen. And the government is lying, the media is lying about that everything's not green screen. They're going to tell you that all this other crap. But basically, everything is green screen. The sky, the birds, the Taco Bells, everything. Green screen. Delaware Dan. And don't forget that everything, this is a public announcement. Don't forget that. Don't let anyone tell you different. Because it is green screen. So also the earth is definitely round. So if you think that, fucking good luck. Delaware Dan.
And now for our segment, Sippin' on a Sippable by Sips McGee.
We're here listening to by Philip Tabanye and Malumbo while sipping on So far it sounds pretty good. Let me ask my associate, how are you enjoying this Monte Albans and Philip Tabanye combo?
They're pretty good.
So there you have it. I'm gonna have to stop recording because we're about to lose our fucking minds. Their minds they did, as we now enter into this next foray, featuring the one, the only, Yasamak, otherwise known as Yaselmik, by Chadathan Beate the Fourth of West Cheshire. Do not let my words deviate your attention any further, for this is some
very sanctified and unholy shit. Please enjoy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over the whole track. I'm so sorry. It's going to keep playing. We're just going to keep it going. Spin it. We're spinning. And we're back.
I thought there was going to be more.
And we are back. As the valley of the chasm is filled with fog and the morning dew, no sun rose that day, but only the black moon of Endoroth. And it was fucking crazy.
Hey there folks, it's Delaware Dan with an interruption. Does your family suffer from low-fidelity car advertisements that fail to result in putting you and your family in the seat of a brand new Kia Spectral non-corporeal interdimensional law-abiding time travels where 1% of all old people are being forced to vote for their favorite death quotes by mail? No problem. Call Delaware Dan at 69. Call Delaware Dan.
And here, the last noise show of all time. The people did watch from their cell phones, and they saw one thing, and one thing only, that I'd never fulfilled that one Venmo request. Ever. Okay, for real, I'm gonna stop now. Please enjoy the song.
Quick, I just want to apologize to Chad. I got the name wrong. It was Yes Selma, and I'm not making fun of the music. I just was I was getting carried away listening. I was putting myself in a situation where I was like in a dungeon castle or something. It's kind of cool, but I think your music so much more than that. It's got a lot of twists and turns. It's changed so much over the years. Here's to all the years and all the beers and lack of beers. Sometimes it's all right. Sometimes you don't feel like drinking no alcohol. I totally understand that. So. I'm sorry, Chad. Love you, bud. Great music, great tape. I don't mean disrespect no one. I just get kind of, I just get real into it, and it just keeps on going. So, sorry about that. But anyways, back to the story. All right, we're doing this.
Hello?
Hey.
Hello?
Hey, it's Delaware Dan calling. This is a collect call from Delaware Dan.
Yeah, what up?
Not much. Real quick, I got a real quick question for you. And in 100 characters or less, why tapes?
I don't know. It's because of my family.
Okay.
Call me back. I'm at work.
All right, I'm gonna call you back. Thank you. All right, so that's Joe B. All right.
Today's episode is brought to you by cassette tapes. This is what they sound like. You hear that? That actually accidentally touched the mic, but I'm shaking it, which is not advised. You don't want to do that to tapes. They're very fragile. They will fall apart as soon as you touch them, so never open tapes. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, never pay less than $10 for a cassette online. That includes a ship of pricing. So pricing of ship. It costs to ship, and that is the price of shipping. This next tape came out in the 90s, but through a looper type situation, we now have it. It finally came out, It's called Slaps. Slaps, Bops, and Bangers. It's really good. I know I sound like I'm out of breath, but it's because to hold this microphone, I have to bend all the way over. So it's got some good hits on it. It's got the well received, quite illustrious, and very, in America, extremely in America right now. They're called Office Hours Live, and they're doing Slaps, Bops, and Bangers. It's pretty good. People in the Midwest seem to like it. People all over America like it. I can speak. I can't speak for the Midwest, but I can definitely say that definitely, everybody that you meet, I don't know what they're going through. That has nothing to do with this fucking tape, though. But, this one's good because if you've seen Spaceman 3, 8, Moonbase 8, sorry, same, I get them confused all the time, then you probably know this song. So it's not in the show, but it has to do with the guy that's in it and the other guy who's in this too. And don't act like you don't know who I'm talking about, because it's pretty obvious that it's that's what a tape sounds like, by the way. Alright, so it's like rocking now, dude. Seriously.
When you look in the mirror, you know who you see. You just gotta be
Hold on 1 second. Let me. I just gotta point this out. I gotta bump this. This is the only way this works right now. Is I gotta bump this shit. I just figured it out.
Don't forget the reason why you gotta love the good.
Fucking so good, dude. I'm like, I don't even know what. I don't even know. Don't even know, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm gonna interrupt this real quick because, like, I didn't know what I was doing, but then it just, like, rocked so hard, it just kind of, like, swept me off my feet. So, like, good job. I don't even know, like, what happened to me during this track, but I just wanted to interject and say that. So, anyways, this Delaware Dan, back to the show. I always want to hear this slow down, and I got it slowed down now. Hell yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about right now. Dude, and that's the kind of shit I'm talking about, man. This just fucking rocks so good. I know my dude Bayview would love this shit, man. He taught me how to party. I was a little bit, I was a little bit, well, not, he made me loose, dude. Fucking A, dude. Anyways, that's called Brick by Brick. Yeah, and I'm sorry I keep interrupting him. My boy keeps interrupting him. I'm sorry, Hey there, folks. Delaware Dan again with another crucial interruption. Does your family suffer from too many broadly defined, vast as infinite space rendered Supreme Court hearings that ruled against the adherence to a 69-minute daily workout specifically designed to improve your quad strength while steeping espresso shots at a Starbucks during snowbird season where your family was found dripping fraps out of their family flaps? Then no problem. Call Delaware Dan. That's 302-49 Blondes on the touch tone. You can email Delaware Dan, and if you happen to be in the state of Baltimore, in the city of Baltimore, you go down to Bayview. You go to talk to Bayview Bunky. Call Delaware Dan. Interrupting him. Sorry, I'm interrupting the track, but anyways, here it goes.
In the tunnel
dude, honestly, if I'm being honest right now, I feel like I'm kind of ripping off Bayview Bunkies, and he already done sued me for everything I had, but it was actually mock trial because some dude decided to take LSD at an inappropriate time, and it's the pandemic and all. We can't be messing around. Don't be going to court, even if it's a Skype court and you three-way connected to some dude out in the middle of Siberia. He's got an internet connection, and you don't know what the fuck he's saying, but he's definitely got some weapons there. All right, so I'm going to interrupt this one more time. It's going to be the last time all show, okay? Promise. It's Delaware Dan again. Speaking over Delaware Dan on behalf of Delaware Dan. Basically, I wanted to shout out the background track is DJ Screw, which if we're bringing up cassette tapes, and so far this episode is supposed to be supposedly about cassette tapes. I don't know. There's to show no evidence of that yet, but listening back to it and providing commentary over my own material, I've decided that it's definitely probably boring as fucking shit listening to me talk about this. But anyways, I'm saying DJ Screw used the cassette tapes, and for that we were all so glad. Just so glad. On behalf of Delaware, all Delawareans, just thank you, DJ Screw. Rest in peace and rest in power too. Multiple powers, just not just one. I mean, I'm talking 21 powers, dude, to the 21st square. So, deal with that. Anyways, I just want to also, this song definitely, it might rock more than Van Halen's Jump. It's almost as good. Maybe it might be better, actually. Anyways, back to the show. And this is the last time I interrupt myself. That he's showing in the video. I don't want to see that shit. Get the fuck out. Get it the fuck out of my head. Alright, we're going to speed it up. Damn, dude, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful. None of this is actually meant as disrespect. I'm just real hyped up, dude. I chugged a bunch of fucking coffee, and goddamn, I shouldn't be doing that. I know better than that. Dude, kudos to whoever made this song. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Just whoever made that, just good job. God damn. God bless America. God bless you. Rocks so goddamn hard, dude. This shit fucking rocks my dick off, dude. Fuck yeah. Dude, you remember when that band Dragon Force got caught out? They were speeding up the guitar solos, and people were like, "This fucked up, dude." And I'm like, I don't know. You ever fuck with a tape player before? So, here's the thing. Tapes come from everywhere. They come from all over the land, across the sea. If you got money for that, that's cool. That's how Delaware Dan gets a message out now. The Temple marketing, what's left of it, what I'm legally allowed to discuss is that that's all we got. That's all we got. There's not much left. So which means that there's so much more that's left. But it's better left unsaid as we journey down into this next track by, it's either Steve Jansen or County Conservation District. It's one or the other. Probably both.
Hey there folks, Delaware Dan with an important announcement for you and your family. If you and your family suffer from a criminal lack of baby laxatives occupying the crevices within the earth that are known to spew random platypus facts that only relate to the time of day when all 5 elements are harmonized to the tune of Drop It Like It's Hot, then no problem. Call Delaware Dan 302 4. I'm sick of this whole making up the phone number shit. Alright, just call Delaware Dan 302 69 420, all that shit. Call Delaware Dan. Now this one's pretty good. It kind of reminds me of, kind of like Genesis or like Pink Floyd or something like that. Like in the middle of the album when you stop listening to it. But this is like something I want to listen to.
70s, there was
Okay, here we go.
Flower Child, a hippie, experimental, laid-back, bohemian culture just beneath the surface going on in Park Slope. And I was guided to become a part of it. I worked in a coffee house, the Aquarius Coffee House, in exchange for a place to live in a loft on Union Street in Park Slope. At that time, I played music on the sidewalks of Brooklyn. I was actually scientifically experimenting with meditation in sound and how it would impact listeners.
Alright, so this part was this is Laraji from the documentary, shit, I forget what it's called. Miss Bellaraji's called, damn, my bad, I forget who makes it, but it's pretty good. So check it out.
So I decided to have Laraji have 3 triangles in the name. When Laraji is printed in uppercase, there are 3 triangles. Numerological value of 7. And an embracement of the sun as a sacred friend. I opened my eyes after playing a set in Washington Square Park one night and counting my change, and there was this notebook paper. Looked like it had been ripped out of a notebook, or an expensive notebook. Small, and it's something to the effect, "Dear sir, please pardon this scraggly piece of paper, but I'm wondering if you would consider participating in a recording project that I am launching. Signed, Brian Eno." And we agreed that we'd do an album of music recorded in the village. About a month or 2 later, maybe it was sooner than that, at Apple Studios on Green Street. Recorded the album, very aggressive hammered zither music. In the late 70s, Tascam and Sony and Panasonic recorders were accessible. I could afford them. I would record usually stereo with microphones, and sometimes the microphones with amps in the room and zithers, 2 zithers, and keyboard at times, and usually in a living room, someone's living room. Those were the early cassette tapes, very low budget, and usually they were the result of something I had done either at a concert or a performance. And someone would ask me, "Do you have a copy of that, a recording of it?" And I would distribute them, make them available while playing on the sidewalks in New York. So that was a big increase of my income. And the tape cassettes at home, duplicating one at a time, 60-minute cassette at a time. I'm like do 3 or 4 in a day, sell them. And of course, things change when I could duplicate 50 at a time.
Alright, so that's like one thing you can do with tapes. There's tons of other things. You can recycle them. You know what? Someone out there's got to do this. They got to go ahead. I give them the go ahead to then go ahead and then use their head to then figure out how do you make these tapes. Because here's the thing. What happens? You got a bunch of tapes. You die. Who the fuck is taking all these tapes? Baby Bunky can answer this question. I call upon him from afar. Baby Bunky, if you got to answer this question, man, I know we had our differences. I'm cool. I know you're cool. We're all cool. It's a dangerous time. Very scary. But we got this, dude. I call upon the power of Baby Bunkies. Come down and answer this question. Who takes my tapes when I'm dead? But here's the other thing, is that any of us got these tapes. We got online. What is the lifespan of a tape? That shit is going to outlive every single one of us by at least avenged sevenfold times 7. Just like the Raji said in the video, it's going to be 7. I'm also watching the show The Leftovers, and they're 7 years later, and I don't know. I shouldn't be watching TV like that. So here's some information about tapes that I know you wanted to hear.
Delaware Dan presents the interview with Mike Haley of 905 Tapes and the Tabs Out Cassette Podcast. Also known as Weather, and part of many duos, trios, quadros, high-fivers, and double triplets, which is 3 versus 3. Some of them were called Roped Off, I think. Some of them had some other names. And also Totem Mold Growth.
Oh, I know. That's why I was so concerned about moving to Florida. You can't be out there in all that sun.
I know.
Especially with this global warming and Al Gore. Okay, yeah. Can you hold on 1 second though, actually?
Yeah.
All right, Alex.
Cool.
We're alone now.
Awesome. Nice.
I did it.
I like that.
I guarantee in 5 minutes somebody comes screaming.
That's what was happening.
All right, what's up?
Okay, so cassette tapes. Yeah. I assume you've kind of, from the moment you took.
That's the whole question. Cassette tapes. How about them?
Yeah. What's the deal with the? It starts out like a Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with cassette tapes? You put it in and it sounds kind of weird. You realize it's supposed to sound like that, but what kind of music is that? But I guess because, I assume when you started taking an interest in music and bands, everyone just had tapes. It seems like kind of the easiest way people...
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I guess so. I guess, when you say got interested in music,
Like local live music and stuff.
Oh, yeah, like that kind of stuff. I would say when I started listening to music as a child, you could get the 12 tapes for a penny from a Columbia House or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was my collection of tapes was that. But when I started seeing going to shows and stuff like that, I don't think people really. At least, Noise People always had tapes. That shit was always on cassette tape.
Yeah.
But I feel at least when I feel like punk bands would put out just vinyl or just maybe CDRs or something like that. I don't really remember getting a lot of tapes. But maybe they were there and I just ignored them. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess becoming aware of one, I assumed Delaware didn't have any sort of experimental music or anything. I was just kind of just consuming a lot of shit through the internet from other towns, and then kind of finding out slowly through I don't remember exactly how. I think maybe I added you on Facebook or something. Or
Yeah, I don't know how we met. I'm not really sure.
I was trying to remember.
If it was
that.
like at a Final Friday, if it was at like a show or something like that. I don't remember how you came into the picture.
From what I remember was on North Harrison Street. I went to school with Jess Cross. And some friends were like, "We're gonna go to this house party," and I think like Buck Gooder was there, and then like the world just got so much smaller since then.
No, very cool.
And it might have.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't. I don't remember there being that much of like. There was always people in Delaware who were making weird stuff, or like jamming like at their homes and like maybe not even recording it, but maybe recording it, but not really like playing out or anything like that. And I remember, like, I don't know what year it was, 2000 and. Do you remember when the first Final Friday was? The first one.
That was it might have been like the end of 2010. No, maybe because I know it started in like either November and December because it was cold as fuck.
Okay. So, well, I think it was like a year or two before that, trying to do like noise shows at like the bike project, not the Newark one, but the one that was in Wilmington. I'm not sure if it's still there.
Yeah, I remember.
And doing stuff there, and like some people came out, and some people seemed like kind of into it. And then trying to do them more frequently, like doing them once a month at like a house in Wilmington or somewhere around here. And like it ebbed and flowed with people who came and people who like were interested. And I feel like we hit a few years ago. I feel like we hit like a peak where it's like a good like a solid dozen or so people that like it'll fluctuate a little bit, but it's like those same people, and it's like we've hit a stride. That's as good as it's gonna get, which is pretty cool because everyone. I mean, obviously, no one's gotten together in months or anything, so
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it seemed like from when I moved to Baltimore to when I came back to play, I think I played 3 times, maybe 4, at Final Friday. I think 3 times since I moved to Baltimore. And
you definitely. I know I've seen you definitely play twice when you came back.
Yeah.
Which like I know you played a while.
See, now how am I supposed to know if my tape is broken listening to music like this? It sounds like the damn tape deck fucking shit to bed. It don't work no more. Now, in all due respect, I mean that all due respect, no disrespect intended. Delaware Dan.
Ago. I don't know how long ago it was now.
I think it was like 5 years ago.
You handed out the
beers.
papers, like.
Oh.
You handed out like letters.
Yeah,
to everyone.
That was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
That was fucking hilarious. That was really good. And then you came back with another dude who told like some stories about something or other.
Yeah,
a dude from Baltimore, maybe. I know those 2 times he came around here.
He's from New York, Matt. He did.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Norman, and then he didn't tell me that he was. He told me that he was bringing his friend Ani, but they have a project. They basically perform. They have this project called Insane Angel that they did, and like if I'd have known, it's like just the nomenclatural like, oh, since it's these 2 dudes, they're gonna be like a different name, and so I like promoted the show, but but he was doing the I'm Delaware Dan, like
yeah, that show's good.
That was fun.
Yeah,
back in the day, well, like when you started like trying to book noise shows and stuff, would you get like, did you know like a lot of like people like nationally that would like be hitting you up and be like, hey, we need something between Philly and DC? Like,
no, I mean like friends and stuff would. I mean, most people tend to to skip over Delaware, which has been like, when you're like jammed on the East Coast and there's like only so many days you can play.
Yeah.
And like everyone wants to play New York, even though like no one's gonna beat the show. you know.
Yeah.
But like obviously you also want to like spend the day in New York. So, and like everybody wants to play like Philly, DC, Baltimore. I mean, right there's like those 4 places within like a few hours driving either way.
Yeah.
So like you're pretty much going to skip Delaware. But I mean, if shit falls through, which it often does for people, then they would get in touch, yeah. And but I just figured that's why, I mean, with the Final Friday thing, with just doing, because the first Final Friday was, the whole way that happened was the dude, fuck, why am I blanking on his name? Oh, Rob. This guy Rob, who owned this house that was like a shell of a home, like it was just like gutted out, and it wasn't doing anything with it for years. This guy Rob, who owned this house that was like a shell of a home, like it was just like gutted out, and it wasn't doing anything with it for years. And I asked him if I could do a show there for fun. Remember Matt Raidman?
Matt, yep.
That the duo he was in.
Fun. I still have not
and-
opened my tape. It's still sealed.
What? What's that?
I have a fun tape that's still sealed from that show.
Oh, really? From that show?
I'm like,
That's funny.
I might lose $5 if I open this.
But yeah, they needed a show for something, and then I asked Rob to do it at that house, and it just happened to be the last Friday of the month. So it was like, I was like, maybe we can pull it off with doing it here more often, but don't push it, because there's people on the block. Like, people live on the block, and you don't want to fuck with them too much. Yeah, you don't want to you want to be a bad neighbor.
Yeah.
So like you don't even having like noise shows like more than one. Like ideally to be a good neighbor, you want to have 0 noise shows a month. So,
Between
but
0
I
and
figure
1.
a good compromise. Excuse me, I'm drinking this tea. I figured a good compromise would be 1. Like I figured, like honestly, I thought like there'd be enough interest of people around here to go to 1 noise show a month. But if you're asking for anything more than that, like 1 noise gig, 3 people are playing, and that is the limit. I feel like with the people who like are, the interest level is only so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like you're not going to get people to go out every fucking weekend and watch people fuck around with their synthesizers or whatever. As awesome as it is, and it's like freeing of an experience as it is. I don't want to do it more than like a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely.
So I figured, like, let's just do these at the end of each month. I forget where I was going with this, what the question was. What was the question?
I kind of forget too. I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I was just trying to prompt some conversation.
But, like, yeah. So we were doing them there for a while. Then they got moved. Then you took over somehow, because how did they get moved to the bike? You were at the bike project in Newark when they got moved there.
Sean found me because he came out. He came out to Boss Battle. He came out to Sean Stelfox came out to Final Friday, and then he.
Yeah. Do you know how he made his way there?
No, I think he just.
Sean worked at the University of Delaware, and the guy Rob, who owned the house, knew a woman that like worked with him. And somehow Rob was talking to this woman and talking about how his house was being used for like this weird experimental music thing, and Sean overheard it and was like,
Holy
"Wait,
shit.
what's going on?" And then that's how he got which is just.
Hey there, folks, it's Delaware Dan with an announcement. If you and your family suffer from personal liberty infringements that help keep the older generation alive so that Delaware may continue to receive certain tax rebates that specifically are spent on hentai comics, otherwise known in the state of California as Banga Manga, then no problem. Call Delaware Dan at 69-420 on a tut. You know what to do. Delaware Dan. Call Delaware Dan. No problem. Call now.
Wild. And then I think he ended up playing like maybe like the next one or maybe a few. I forget how it went, but
Yeah, he did. I got his phone number, and before I had a cell phone again, so I was on my mom's at my mom's apartment. She had a landline still, and I remember being like tethered to the wall, just like talking to him about shit, and like kind of like brokering the the deal, but it wasn't like he was like pretty anxious to have us do the show, but since neither of us knew each other, I couldn't tell, and I thought I had to like convince this guy to like let us do noise shows at the Bike Project, but he was
I think he ended up already knowing some, like did he already know John Pyle from childhood or something? Or
No,
when
I
they
don't
were
know.
Teenagers? Or something like that. I
They
forget.
seemed
I
to
feel
be-
like he already knew some people.
Yeah, I remember he
Or
was.
maybe I'm thinking... Go ahead.
You know, he was a lot older than he looked. I remember being like, "Whoa, you're like 15 years older than me or something." But he. I remember he early on. He said he always had an interest in doing shows like this, and had a big interest in, especially like Baltimore's music scene, and like I guess travelers from there in New York, and he wanted to kind of do something like that in Delaware. And I do remember telling him like, well, people aren't going to come out more than once a month, if that.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, and I remember because I was friends with like some like other musicians that played like really kind of straightforward kind of folk rock and roll kind of easy to, you know, they got the easy to play guitar. And I remember they were like doing kind of like open mic stuff with some of the people involved with the Bike Project, but I never thought they would like let us like bring some speakers and get really loud
right.
loops.
Yeah, and that Bike Project got moved like 3 times
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
since then. And we moved with them every single time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. I still don't really know how. And now Jamie Orlando is like the connect there.
Yeah, he's
and I don't know where he came from. I still think he's a cop. You think he's or some sort of CIA plan or something like that.
COINTELPRO 2.
Yeah.
We had this theory about all these people in like the Baltimore music scene that we were like, yo, they're definitely like FBI like informants.
There's got to be a few in there.
Just
What, like Twig Harper or something?
Yeah, he's suspect number 1.
Yeah,
actually.
he's CIA. He's definitely
He's
CIA.
fucking MK Ultra.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
there's definitely a few. This guy Dennis, who like.
No, I could see why you would say that, because some people in Baltimore are laid on kind of thick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really bizarre setup to record this. I have the mic.
I'd love to know what's going on
I'll
here.
have to take a picture. The flip phone is plugged into a Behringer mixer.
Okay.
And then I have a
So
mic.
far, I love it.
Then I have I got a tape running and my digital in case one of them fails. I got backup because these tend to go on for a while. I have and yeah, just a microphone to capture my voice. So I got you coming out of the phone and my voice, but the mic for the recording is far away from the phone.
No, I understand, man. I understand.
How did Tabs Out start? I've always actually wondered about that, and also thank you for your service.
How did it start? I guess it just started because, well, you know what happened is my father-in-law gave me this old-ass Dell desktop.
Yeah.
And I had like this idea of like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna have like a studio. I'm gonna have like a spot, because I had never had a spot where I could just like set up and record. I didn't have a laptop at the time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, if I wanted to record something, like I had to make like a whole thing of it, because you gotta like clean up and do all this, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna have this like computer that like is always just set up to record, and you know, I got like a mixer that's always just like everything's ready to go.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was really doing the label more. I got to take another sip of my tea.
Yeah.
You can do all that. You can edit all that out.
Yeah.
At the time, I was doing 905 tapes a bunch more, and I thought like I don't think I even knew really what a podcast was. I knew Dave listened to podcasts, and he'd play them for me, and they were really funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like listen to them myself or know anything about them. But I thought like, oh, I could make like a 905 Tapes podcast, where it was like I would like, you know, play old stuff, like the old like stuff that was like, you know, limited to 20 and like not around anymore, and I could talk about that and interview like the artists and stuff like that, and play shit that was like coming out. And I was like, that'd be cool. And I tried to do something like that, and it was just like so weird because like to be alone and like doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
To try to like have like a conversation about a tape kind of, but like no one else is there. So I think after trying to do that like 5 times, I was like, well, I still want to do something like that.
Yeah.
And so like talked to Dave about it and like talked about like, you know, just playing tapes and talking about the tapes. And like, so like we got together and we gave it a shot. And
Go to play some tapes.
like I haven't listened to the first one in a long time, but I'm sure it sucks. I'm sure it's like so fucking boring. Because it was just like, I don't think it was like, either of us really, first of all, I don't think either of us really knew what we were even supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we didn't have like mic stands, so we're like holding microphones and passing tapes back and forth and fumbling with them and just saying like, well, what do you think about this one? Oh yeah, that looks cool. Oh yeah, the art's really cool. And then just like, you know, not knowing what to do. It took a while before, and then Joe B came the second time. And because he got jealous that me and Dave were doing something together and he wasn't involved, so he came.
You brought some weed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because at the time, there was definitely an episode, like the 3rd or 4th one that we did. Because like at the time, like we didn't like smoke when we did that. We'd like maybe just have like a few beers. And this one time, like we decided to like smoke while we were recording an episode. And then we were like, the next day, it's like we can't put that out. It's like fucking ridiculous. But then it's like, but maybe that's what we should probably just do every time. Like instead of it like trying, like making sense and like, you know, like being like having all of our notes and like looking over like all this stuff. Like maybe we should just like not really pay that much attention, and then maybe we should have like soundboards and just like play like Cake Boss sound clips and like stupid shit like that. And
I love the soundboards. I'm a huge fan of the drops.
I'm so bummed that Dave lost his entire soundboard.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, he had like he got a virus. His computer fucking like I don't know what he was doing. He was trying to back it up or something like that. But in any event, he lost all of his sound clips.
God.
Which he had quite a library of. But he says that when we come back to podcasting in person, he's going to have a whole new setup, and I'm real excited about that.
That's awesome.
Because it's a bummer trying to like because we're on Zoom when we do them now. So like I'm staring at this, like first of all, I never had to record it. Dave always recorded it, and sometimes I forget to hit record when I start.
I have that same problem.
I'm like trying to record it, and I'm like doing like, you know, and like fucking with everyone, like all the levels and stuff like that. Not to make it sound like this is like the most difficult job in the world, and like it turns out like the end product is all like fabulous or anything, but
very
like
polished.
To be like looking at Zoom and looking at like the levels and recording everything and trying to like do the soundboard and all this shit, it's just like, I don't know, it's definitely not like as fun, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, it will be nice when David's back and has a brand new soundboard and he's recording it himself.
Yeah, maybe.
I can just.
I think it was Russia. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I think it was Russia that got his.
Do you think it was, what is it? Stinky Bear? What is the name of
it's Cozy
the hacking
Bear.
group?
Cozy Bear.
Cozy Bear, yeah. Well, I think this one was Stinky Bear, though.
This was Stinky Bear, definitely. It's a new one.
Cozy Bear was the one that got into like the Treasury Department and stuff like that. But yeah,
or,
but
whatever it's called, the Department of Homeland.
I think that's so fucking hilarious. I think it's so fucking hilarious that like it was like the what is it? The not what part of Homeland Security? It's like specifically like who handles cybersecurity in our government. Like they were part of the breach that hack, and it's just like, how fucking stupid, what dumb of a timeline are we in? And it's like the Treasury Department's hacked. It's like, oh good, the Treasury Department only has all the information on all of us.
Right.
So,
all the
like,
money that we spent.
That's fucking, yeah, that's gonna be fucking awesome. Stinky Bear is gonna know every fucking thing about me. I don't know, who cares though?
Yeah, I think you know, these things have their ways of working themselves out.
Yeah,
that's something to tell myself to go to sleep.
Yeah, the George H.W. Bush will get resurrected. He'll fix it all. He knows how to handle it.
He's cybernetic now, and he can do.
Yeah.
He can go into cyber. Now he is cyber. So that's.
And he's like a young man now. In cyber, it's like, like when you die and go to heaven, everyone knows the fact that you turn into whatever age was your glory days.
Right, your goal, yeah.
The same with cyber. Same when you go into the Matrix. You go into your whatever age was your glory days.
You kind of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater style, like design your avatar. Like I want these glasses with these slip-ons and like this Glock 9, and I'm going in.
Cool shit.
Yeah. Did you played in a band early on, right? I mean, I know you did a couple things, but I remember seeing footage or maybe just photos of you playing in like.
I mean, not really. It was like me, Joe B. Do you know Larry Everett?
Yeah.
Larry Everett, who was from Delaware. Scott Brian Nichols and this other guy Dan, and we had a band called Echoes Instructor that that never really. I mean, it was a mixture of like no one really wanting to do it, and kind of like it was the kind of thing like at the time, me, Larry, and Joe all lived together in a house where Brian and Dan were always hanging out. And we kind of just had a basement where we could practice. And we would just practice and, like, play shows every once in a while. And then when we moved out of that house, me and Brian moved to Madison and had another spot where we could practice. And we would do it there. And, I mean, basically, it was the kind of thing where, like, Joe B lost interest first. Brian started to lose interest. I was really kind of, like, I'm awful to deal with. I'm awful to, like, work with on stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I have, like, a really bad, like, well, this is the way it's going to be, so here's how we're going to do it, and this is how it is. And, don't tell me how you think this is going to be, because I already thought it through, and this is how it's going to work. And, like, when you, like, take that kind of, like, personality and, like, put it in, like, a band, it,
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in a band with that person.
Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, it's the kind of thing where like we played a bunch of shows and we did record for like there was this label that was going to put out something by us and we were recording for it and in the middle of like recording. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm like I teed up this story way more to make it sound way more exciting than it really is. Because like we weren't there when it happened, but the guy who was recording us got murdered, like in the midst of us. Like I said, we weren't there, but like there was this guy who had a studio in Newcastle, and I wish I could remember his name or the name of the studio, but it was so long ago, I don't remember now. It was like Jesus Christ. Now that I think about it, it was like how long ago was it? Like almost 20 years ago or something.
Wow.
But like. Yeah, we were recording with him, and then we went to finish up one day, and like the cops were there, the news was there, and like someone had like hours earlier, like in the middle of the night, like broke into his house, and like I guess to rob him or something. Like I don't know, they thought maybe he had a bunch of cash there or something, but like yeah, ended up shooting and killing him.
Jesus.
And yeah, and then we kind of like were like, well. Then, like the question was, how do we get the recordings back? That we were working on, because like we can't like call up his like the studio was in his house.
Right.
And, like I'm not calling up his fucking wife and saying like,
fuck.
My band was sorry for your loss, but my band was recording there, and there's some DAT tapes that we need to get.
Oh no.
Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, that ain't happening.
So, like, I don't know, like, I actually don't know who was in charge. Someone was in charge of, like, I bet you it wasn't me, was in charge of calling up and going there and getting them. And then we, like, went to finish up the recording with someone else, and, like, it was just a mess. And by then, like, there were so many, like, like, we were just, just didn't want to be around each other. Well, I guess a lot of people didn't want to be around me, I should say. And so it didn't, the group dynamic didn't work well. And by the time, like, we got, like, the recording back, like, we weren't doing anything anymore. And it kind of just, like, just not there.
Yeah.
But so that that was that.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, it's always a weird thing when you lose the recordings. And I've talked to a few people. Never someone got murdered though. That's a new one. That's crazy.
Quite a bummer. Yeah,
that really sucks.
He had like a really cool studio, and like I think the way I found out about him was because I was doing another label at the time, and I had to. This band sent me like their song for like a split 7-inch I was putting out on like a 1/4-inch like reel to reel, and I was just like, well, what do I do with this? Like,
how do I listen?
Like, what do I supposed to do with this? So I found him. I called up a bunch of recording studios, and I found him, and he said he could like convert it, put it on like a CD or whatever he did at the time.
Yeah. Oh wow.
But like, yeah, he had like an awesome studio, and like, yeah. I mean, not that if his studio sucked and he got murdered, it'd be any better, but
no. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I always tell this story, and I used to say like, because we used to go there and record sometimes from like 10 o'clock to like 2 in the morning or something like that. We'd be there really late, and I'd always like say like and he got killed in like the middle of the night, and like we could have been there recording, but like we weren't. So like why bring that?
Right.
Yeah, learning after a while like this guy was like killed, and like the story isn't exactly about me and the band I was in, but
yeah, they kind of tangents. Yeah. No, that's that's Newcastle can be a rough.
Rough scene, man.
Yeah. I remember going to. I wonder how many times I started a phrase with "I remember," because I'm not really that.
I was gonna say though, that was after being in a band for a while. It was very nice to like really get into noise after that, because it was like, oh, I can do this all by myself.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, no one has to like. After a month, I won't have to like sour a friendship. It's like, because I'll definitely do that. I mean, even Tabs Out is now like Dave and Joe were like once a month we can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it once a month. We're not doing it more than that.
You got them contractually bound.
No. I wish. I wish I did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm very grateful for Tabs Out. I think I've made quite a few friends.
Do you really listen?
I listen occasionally. Okay, so initially I was only listening to my episodes.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, I should actually dive in. So I'm behind, but there are.
I'm always weirded out when like anyone like says like, oh, I love the show, because it's like I honestly think the only people who are listening to it are people who they listen to it when their tape is played.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
And they go directly to the part to see like what was said about their tape. And I would say 80% of the time they're probably super disappointed, because they're like, what the fuck was this? But like, I don't know, but like Dave tells me that like people listen to it.
Yeah, well,
like,
so I know people that are not musicians, or like they don't really release music and they don't have tapes, but they listen to it as part of their like circulate. Like my friend Kevin, I met him in Baltimore, and he was like, oh, I know about Tabs Out. Yeah, and he's up to, it's like on all the publications and stuff, like Cassette Gods and whatever's been around, Tiny Mixtapes and stuff like that, and he just has a genuine interest in finding crazy weird music of all kinds, and I think that gave me confidence to continue with tapes, because I was kind of like, all right, well now I'm just like making tapes to like give out. It was like kind of my bad. Most of the shows I would play, I'd just like give the tapes. I'd get drunk and be like, I'm Santa Claus of the tapes, and just like give everyone, you get a tape, and but no, I started finding out that people that had heard of Tabs Out, whether or not they had music involved in it or not, were more likely to buy a tape, and I definitely think, and that's also like kind of the weird thing about, I think, just internet publication in general, like music criticism specifically, is like I remember having a conversation with an old housemate of mine, but he was kind of like, because I was like working for a Baltimore-based label, and he was having me mail like fucking like big name people, and I'm like kind of intimidating to like write their name, be like, maybe they'll get this. It's not even my music, but it's like, all right, we're really sending this to fucking, what's that guy? There's like NPR people. He had me send stuff too, and he made me mail to all these people in Russia. No, I'm kidding. But he yeah, it was like, we really need to get a write-up. And I remember thinking like, whoa, anyone can like write some shit and put it like put it up on like a blog spot. And my housemate overheard me talking about this and was just like, what we do is we just made up our own blog and like wrote about like, each of them had like solo project. Yeah. They like, and I'm just kind of like, that's like cheating. Like, I already feel kind of bad that like these people that I know are like, you know,
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
made their own blog.
I was kind of like initially kind of like, oh, that's so wrong. But I mean, I think he's right. As long as you have something that can point someone to getting a description about it without having to hear it, and then they can choose to hear it, definitely, I guess, counts as a thing. But even then, it's like, you know, the likelihood of somebody actually listening to it, which is the benefit of having like a podcast. If you just, and nowadays with podcasts, it's just automatically, like, you can set, okay, anytime a new episode of this comes out, it goes to the the AirPods, and I just got it in my ear, and it just, you know, it just
get emailed right to your brain.
Exactly, download to the cortex, and
yeah,
and
you can have Steve Jobs, he emails it right to your brain.
Yeah, and the fact that not just me, but so many people who's are releasing a very inaccessible, not, I won't say very, but a kind of inaccessible way of listening to music. You know, cassette tapes, the fact that it's, you know, being kind of digitally streamed into the ethos, I think is a very positive thing. And, you know, I've even noticed, like, yes, a lot more labels. I mean, and again, maybe they just always have and I just didn't notice it, but especially within the last 10 years, like, just the amount of like cassette releases that accompany a vinyl release or something. Just to have like some kind of physical merch that you can buy. And
it's definitely I feel like, I mean, like you said, I don't know if I just noticed it more or if, like, over the past few years. Oh, who's calling me? I'm not sure that is.
Scam.
Like the amount of like people who like we used to get tapes, like when we first started the podcast, like maybe a year after doing it, when like tapes would start coming in the mail on a more regular basis. We were getting like a tape a day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one tape a day. And they were mainly like in the same, like, you know, not the same exact stuff. They weren't all exactly the same exact, like, you know, just strip noise tape. But like, they were in that zone.
Yeah.
But like, now I feel like there's just like, I mean, we get like 10 tapes a day. And it's like, shit that's all over like the spectrum. And like, I don't know if that's just like a new thing, if it's a new thing that they're sending them to us, or if it's just like tapes are really like generally having like a moment where like everyone's just fucking, for whatever reason, if they like, because if they like them or if they think like, oh, well, I think we're supposed to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of that, of like, obviously with anything there's going to be like shit where it's like, you know, yeah, you make a tape because you're supposed to make a tape right now.
Right. Yeah, and then I'm supposed to mail it to someone to to listen to it, and it's probably a combination of all of that. And you know, I guess like local kind of insular scenes have probably always had like tape trading and stuff, but now that there's like a bigger platform for people, because like once when I noticed like, oh, like, you know, there's such thing as like cassette culture, so to speak, or like, you know, people actually paying attention and collecting them and talking about it.
Yeah, and then you can definitely tell the people that like send us stuff that have never ever once paid any, like, they have no clue what Tabs Out is.
Right.
And no big deal. You made a tape and you want people to hear it.
Yeah.
And so, like, whatever. Like, you don't have to know what Tabs Out is. Whatever. It's like, why would you know? But, like, I do love getting stuff that it's like, why would they ever send this to us? Like, if they paid, like, listen to one episode, or even better, it's like, I love just in general people in music that, like, because it's all so impersonal, but they try to make it personal, because everyone is just like, a copy and paste letter that's like, I love your label / blog / zine / podcast. And it's like, and then the people, when they're like, hi Tabs Out, I want to get in touch with you about this because we all love Tabs Out. We listen to every episode. We just put out this double LP by Australian, like, folk musician. And it's like, what? Like, well, the double LP, what? Stop right there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Skirt.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, people promoting, they got a lot of options, and Tabs Out has been a fun way to explore music. This is how I do this is me practicing for NPR.
It's good, I like it.
Tabs Out.
It's really good.
Thank you.
Don't edit this at all.
This part's
upload this entire conversation.
Oh yeah, we're clocked at hour 40.
Speaking of which, though, we should probably wrap it. I'm giving you the wrap up section.
Yeah, no, I can feel it. So check out tabsout.com for your tape explorations of all kinds of things and sounds unrestricted by time and or space.
Yeah, there is no restrictions on time or space.
Definitely.
That is true.
If you listen to Tabs Out, you will trip balls. And I can guarantee you that. Delaware Dan. Thank you, Mike, for tuning in. I'm back in the radio personality. Thanks for tuning in to our live radio show.
Are you telling me thanks for tuning in?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I didn't tune in I wasn't tuned in. Is that going to be a problem?
No, it's fine. We'll just edit.
Okay.
We'll edit in you tuning in. Be like, I am tuning in.
Yeah. If you have a filter, a tuning in filter, just have it. It's a high-pitched squeal through the entire thing. That's me tuning in.
I'm gonna
or, if you could just put, like, the modem sound, connecting to the internet sound the entire time, that can be me trying to tune in the entire time.
And then I'm going to take, like, single words from this whole interview of yours and then make it say, I am tuning in now.
I am tuning in now.
There you go. It's all in one place.
Now you don't have to.
It's made it so much easier for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take a little trip with me. Take a little trip, baby, in my lowrider.
This segment was recorded by Delaware Dan. Interview by Delaware Dan. Interview featuring Delaware Dan. Copyright Delaware Dan 2021. You're currently listening to Party Tape.
It's a little higher, baby, rider gets a little slower, baby. Oh yeah, take a little trip with me. Take a little trip now, mama. Yeah.
All right, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. You heard Play Money, Party Tape, and it's a tape you can play at a party if you want. You can do that if you want to. I'm not going to judge you. Delaware Dan is known to party here once in a while. Pending current DA investigation up there in the state of Delaware, wonderful state of Delaware. I hope I'm allowed back there someday, but yeah, so that's supposed to be a burp. Add a little bit of burp sound in there. You got that? Okay. So so you heard, and then before that, you heard Hold the Door. Oh no, sorry, that was Fencing on Green by The Cradle. In memory of Pablo Spliff. a very influential and beautiful soul. Then you had The Car? Question mark, The Car? Like, dude, The Car? Like, not where's my car? The Car. But question mark on Deco tapes or something like that. Dodeca Hendo tapes. Deco Coherence tapes. And that one is by Morgan Garrett. We love him. Beautiful soul, very influential, living. And then we heard PlayStation 4 Hicks Screams. It was like, oh hell yeah. And then that was a song called The Mountain. Their relation to the film starring Chef Goldblum. And then we had folk or stereo separation in thrift stores. And this one was interesting. It's got nude, but I don't really understand what's going on because they look naked, but they're not doing sex. But they're in an embrace. It's kind of a weird picture, honestly. I'm starting to think now maybe this Robbie Basho, you know? He's got a mustache. And they're laying in the bed and they look like maybe they're going to be doing sex, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like they're doing porns. They're just kind of, you know, maybe just like mom and dad in the 70s or something, and they're naked, and for some reason they had a camera on an auto timer, I hope. Otherwise, it's some very strange implications there. They look very happy, and it's fucking weird. So you got that one, and then before that we had Holy People, Jester to Her Majesty the People, Holy People. And it's pretty good. That one's really good. Before that, we had Lifescapes. It's kind of a new age. I don't even know, dude. I found this in a thrift store. It's produced. This is a more recent tape. It makes a bold claim that there's over 60 minutes of music. It was produced by John August. Meditations. Lifescapes, Native American flute, mystical, irreverent, and ageless. Then before that we had Weather, who you heard in the interview, Fungus Crossed. Sometimes you gotta cross your fungus and hope that it's gonna work out. And then you had also Mike Haley put out this tape. He put out Alex Homan's first tape, 905 tapes, 161. It's called Alex Homan. And then before that we had Steve Jansen. Split tape with County Conservation District by the one and the only Autumn Tapes. Pretty good. Oh no, this one is something different. It's a different album, but it's related to that. And then before that we had Yes Selma, Bliss of Remake. Pretty good. I think all in all it's pretty good. Oh, and the one with the nude thing I was talking about with the folk or stereo separation in thrift stores with the people potentially having prior, or they might have been doing the sex. I don't know. It's not what the tape's about. There's no sex on a tape, thank God. It's not the kind of tape I'm trying to buy normally. So it had to be pretty wild circumstances for Delaware Dan to be buying the sex tapes. So, but that's by Idem Theftable, and you all probably heard of him before. So it's pretty good. I think we got a pretty good. Oh, this just in. This is interesting. Ironically, we're doing tapes, but this dude just died. Holy shit. What are the fucking odds of... Come on, dude. You seriously going to die on my fucking... While I'm doing my podcast about tapes? There's so many people out there doing tapes and all this shit. And now, Delaware Dan... Hey there, hi there, ho there, folks. It's Delaware Dan. With a sudden announcement. Does your family suffer from too many waxed out boys, also known to the district attorney of Pinellas County, Florida, as short horn bros shaving their pubes with a private investigator down the street named Detective Vladimir Pubet Chaviati, who then collects the pubes and offers them in a fire ritual that summons the spank devil in the freeze aisle just in time for Christmas bonuses? Then no problem. Call Delaware Dan for this exact problem. 302-123-8924, extension 420. Delaware Dan is going to get you and your family in the holiday season. By the time Christmas comes down, Spank Devil and Freeze Out will be summoned just in time for them Christmas bonus checks. So no problem. Delaware Dan. Thank you. Dan. All right, so trying to find out who the fuck died on the tapes. Man, that's tragic. So anyways, well, you know what? We're going to cut to our next segment, and it's going to be a little bit of an interview type segment. And, we're going to be talking to Ton from the Hungry Guy Show. And, we're going to be asking him about tapes. Apparently, he knows a huge amount of the history of cassette tapes. So, it's not a Hungry Guy segment, but we're going to take it away. It's called Interviews with
No fucking goddamn fucking problem. No problem.
So what do you want to know? I want to know about the tapes. I want to know about these tapes. Oh, tapes. Yeah, this guy, he just passed away just recently. Big Lou. We call him Big Lou. In the, that's just what we call him. Cool. Lou Ottens, he developed the analog magnetic tape, adapted into a cassette for audio recording and playback. And, that's his way of cooking. Me and my brother Ron, we cook the way we cook. By breaking into people's houses when they're asleep or not home and stuff. We cook their food. We eat it. Sometimes we just throw the food out. Fuck it. Who gives a shit about this fucking food? It's all about the hype. It's all about the show. It's about the ratings. It's about cooking on TV. Even though you're not seeing it right now, you're just hearing an audio. So, pretty much the compact cassette technology was originally designed for dictation machines. If you need to know, Dan, if that's your real name. It is, but improvements in fidelity led the compact cassette to supplant the stereo 8-track cartridge and reel-to-reel tape recording in most non-professional applications. I mean, the 8-track cartridge is kind of obsolete after a certain point, if you get my meaning. Kind of like Betamax. I mean, who's whacking off the Betamax? No one's like taking a Betamax and taking pictures of their parents, or the parents are taking pictures of themselves on Betamax. Stop that. Conceiving a child. Yeah, but okay, so that's just the first thing about it, and it's also interesting to know that the portable audio cassette tape has been used for data storage or early microcomputers. So that's pretty interesting. How about that? I never knew that. So we're doing just so you know, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about tapes. Before the tapes came out, it was a reel-to-reel tape recorder with the commercial name Magnetophone, released by AEG. And we're talking 30s, I think 34, 35 maybe. And it was based on the invention of the magnetic tape by Fritz Flumer in 1928. These machines were very expensive and relatively difficult to use, and were therefore mostly used by professionals, radio station recorders. How about that? After the Second World War, the magnetic tape recording technology proliferated across the world. These are my own words that I'm using out of my own mouth. So in the U.S., Ampex, using equipment obtained in Germany as a starting point, began commercial production of tape recorders. First used in studios to record radio programs, tape recorders quickly found their ways into schools and homes. And by 1953, 1 million U.S. homes had tape machines. Isn't that a bitch? How about that? Isn't that a fucking shit storm of tapes? It's pretty crazy. Tape usage. So in 1958, the year that I previously mentioned. Did you mention that one? I don't remember. I don't think you. Although I'm getting my dates wrong. Yeah, I think so. Lou comes in 63, and if I remember right, it was RCA Victor introduced a stereo quarter-inch reversible reel-to-reel RCA tape cartridge. How about that? I never knew this kind of stuff. Incredible. It is incredible. So incredible. Consumer use of the magnetic tape machines took off in the early 1960s after playback machines reached a comfortable, user-friendly design. This was aided by the introduction of transistors, which replaced the bulky, fragile, costly vacuum tubes. Those, I don't know if you remember those, because you don't, because you weren't you were dead back then. Yeah, no, you were not alive. Wasn't alive yet. You would knock into it, and it would shatter a million pieces. It would earth shatter. You hear that?
Yeah, I do remember
And
that.
every tape recorder would activate, and you'd hear the shatter and the shame, and just it would be so. Anyway, so we're gonna skip ahead a little bit. Compact cassette. So yeah, come in, enter Lou Oddins in Belgium.
Yeah, we like that guy.
So let's learn about a little bit
Rest
about
in
Big
peace.
Lou.
Rest in peace, Lou.
He was born. No one gives a shit when he was born, but he died recently, and that's very tragic because we owe this whole thing to him. And he was born in Bellingwold on 21st June, 1926. So had he been born 5 days later, he could have been 26. That's so cool. That's so cool. So
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool.
yeah, Otten showed an interest in technology and tinkering from an early age, and I think Otten showed an interest. So while he was in teens
Not
during
funny.
World War II, he constructed a radio that he would use to secretly listen to the Radio Oranje broadcast. Which, if you don't know what those are, is the Dutch radio program on BBC European service to the broadcast to the German-occupied Netherlands during World War II, and it transmitted from London in broadcast programs of approximately 15 minutes at a time. That's really interesting. Imagine just sitting there.
That's pretty interesting.
All of a sudden you hear Radio Oranje, and that's crazy. So,
Radio Orange.
and then eventually, in order to avoid the Nazi
Permission to
jammers,
zone
Otten
granted.
just constructed a radio with the primitive
Whoa,
direction.
whoa, hold up.
After the war, we're not talking. Fuck them. That. So here's where he comes into tapes. Building on the success of the EL3585, which we all know what that is. Phillips Hassel, he started working on plans to develop a portable cassette recorder. The goal for this pocket recorder, as it was nicknamed, was to be inexpensive and small with low battery consumption but reasonable sound quality. Well, that's where we're at now. How about that? It's barely taking up any of the
How
time. So,
about that?
it's not taking up no the battery powers, and there's none of that shit. So,
Yeah, I would hope so.
and I just want to say to you, Dan, what are you doing? You still doing them tapes?
Yeah, I'm doing tapes. I got
Because
tapes for days.
Remember Ryan, he was seeing some floozy up in, Marcus Hook, and she's up there, and she's saying, I want the tapes that will teach me marketing. Period. I just want to know marketing, and he said, Delaware Dan.
I got tapes for
You
that.
still selling them tapes?
Selling
What
tapes
the fuck is
every-
up with you?
Selling tapes every day. You're a temple
Also, I hear
marketing.
you're a scumbag, so I don't mean to interrupt you.
Whoa. Okay. All right. You just
Thank you.
No.
Thank you for interviewing me. So
You're no problem.
this is what we're doing. We're talking about Phillips, the company, not a guy named Phillips. And we rest in peace, Ludwig Frederick Ottens, aka Big Lou. We love you, dude. We thank you. I know you don't really He never really understood why people were going back to tapes, and honestly, I don't either, because my car, it's got some tape player in it, don't work. I put the iPad in it, and it don't work. People come and they take the iPad, they steal it, they smash it when they last. So I don't know what the fuck to do about it. I don't even own a car. That's the craziest part about this. I don't even own a fucking car. So we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Talk about whatever you want.
So, long story short, Lou Ottens, critical for magnetic tape being in a little cassette you put in your car and you listen. Lou Ottens, critical for magnetic tape being in a little cassette you put in your car and you listen to Delaware Dan Marketing.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do.
So I think it's pretty interesting that that compact cassette served as a catalyst for social change. I mean, their small size, durability, and ease of copying helped bring underground rock and punk music from beyond the Iron Curtain, way out in wherever the Iron Curtain fucking exists. So I mean, one of the most famous political use of cassette tapes was the dissemination of sermons by the Ayatollah Khomeini.
Well, I don't know if we're down.
Before the 1979 revolution. So that's a strange way to do it, and this is how they overthrew the Shah, and that's how the Shah sleeps in Lee Harvey's grave, was because of cassette tapes. So that brings me then to the Butthole Surfers. They did tapes. They got tapes out there with the Butthole Surfers on it. So it's incredible stuff. I mean, also during the military dictatorship of Chile in the 70s to the 90s, cassette culture emerged with blacklisted music or music that was by other reasons not available as records were shared.
Oh, how about
And some
that?
pirate cassette producers created brands such as Cumbre y Cuatro that have, in retrospect, received praise for their contributions to popular music. And armed anti-dictatorship groups such as Manuel Rodriguez Patriotic Front, the Revolutionary Left Movement, made use of cassettes to propagandize their struggle. So that's very interesting.
That's pretty interesting.
In the 1970s India, cassettes were actually blamed for bringing unwanted Christian and Islamic influences into traditionally Sikh and Hindu areas. Cassette technology was a booming market for pop music in India, drawing criticism from conservatives while at the same time creating a huge market. I mean, we're talking a fucking huge market for legitimate recording companies as well as pirated tapes. I'm reading all this off of Wikipedia, by the way, and I'm coming up with these are my own words that I came up with.
Yeah,
right
no,
now.
I believe.
So don't think I'm reading off Wikipedia despite I just said that. So some sales channels were associated with cassettes, and in Spain, filling stations often featured a display selling cassettes. While offering also mainstream music, these cassettes became associated with genres such as gypsy rumba, light music, and joke tapes that were very popular in the 1970s, 1980s, and that speaks as to what kind of joke tapes are out there. Are people doing? Are you doing? Is just the whole thing a joke, Delaware Dan? You're doing tapes. You kind of seem like a joke to me, and you're sitting here dressed with basically nothing. I heard that you're down there in Florida.
No. That's not.
I heard you're down there in Florida, and you're sitting there. You're not going into doing cover songs.
No. We're not going into that right now.
No. What's all on there?
It's not on anything. We're not going into that. I'm not commenting on
Florida
any.
Fran, more like.
Okay. All right. You say what you want, but
more like a Florida Fran to me.
Okay. All right. You stop. Knock this shit off.
So, 21st century use and revival sees the despite that portable digital recorders are most common today, analog tape remains a desirable option for certain artists and consumers.
How about that?
And older genres like Dan's band, which is funny because I don't know you, Dale, or Dan to be in any band other than your own band. You're kind of like a one-man band over here.
You got tendrils.
Some musicians and DJs in the independent music community maintain a tradition of using and releasing cassettes due to its low cost and ease of use. Underground and DIY communities release regularly and sometimes exclusively on cassette format, particularly in experimental music circles and to a lesser extent in hardcore punk, death metal, and black metal circles, which might be the intro for certain people to hear about tapes in the first place, and they find out that experimental music even exists because of this cassette shit. And you're polluting the kids' minds with this. And it's generally out of a fondness for the format in general. Even among major label stars, the format has at least one devotee. And I'm not going to mention his name, Thurston Moore, but he claimed in 2009 I only listened to cassettes. So, what the fuck? You're not going to listen to 8 tracks? You're not going to listen to little SIM cards? You're not going to listen to little. What if you're in the grocery store and all of a sudden someone's playing over the radio? You're not going to listen to goddamn radio, Thurston Moore? I mean, come on. It's Delaware Dan. This is what we're talking about. He's the one that you need to take this shit up with.
You taking it with me?
So, anyways, I don't know what the fuck that means. What the fuck are we even talking about? Other than very few companies as of 2020 still make cassettes.
I'm still here.
Among those on national audio recording. This, you know what? This is a good opportunity. There's this guy up there, Dominic. He's up there. He's making tapes. He's working his butt off. He's working his freaking butt off up there in Brooklyn on 4th. Goddamn, he makes tapes like no one would fucking believe. I mean, the little drummer boy brought the drums to the Christ. This guy is bringing tapes to the world the same exact way that the drummer boy offered his services for the divine propensity of just the immense bliss and happiness and the saving of humankind. This is the same way what Don is doing. It's not a joke. I'm doing this with a silly accent, but I'm fucking serious. I'm fucking serious here. National Recording Studio. I guarantee if you go through him, you're not only going to get a better quality tape, even if you're using low quality, doing on the thing, it sounds like shit. When you put his tape in there, it's gold. It's suddenly gold. It turns everything into gold. It turns sound into gold. It turns feces into gold. I'm just kidding. But for real, his amazing tapes. I mean, he does so good. And a lot of them don't even have screws, so you can send them to prisoners. And I think prisoners would really enjoy. I know a couple guys are locked up with one a Delaware Dan tape right now.
Send them a tape.
They could really fucking use a Delaware Dan tape.
Send them a Delaware Dan tape.
You sitting here listening to me, Delaware Dan. You should go put some tapes on them.
They're going to put tapes on them. We got them. We got them good. They're going to send them tapes. It's going to be all good. We got tons of tapes.
2010, the Botswana-based Diamond Studios announced plans for establishing a plant to mass-produce tapes in a bid to combat piracy.
And in South Korea, the early English education boom for toddlers encourages a continuous demand for English language cassettes. As of 2011, due to the affordable cost, and that's amazing. And in India, film and devotional music continue to be released in the cassette format. What else do you want to know?
I want to know about Guardians of the Galaxy.
About Guardians of the Galaxy.
I want to know about Guardians of the Galaxy.
We're not going to talk about synthwave. We're not going to talk about any of that shit. Because everything you need to know about tapes, you already fucking know.
Tell me about tapes.
Tell me about tapes. In 1968, DuPont, which Delaware Dan, you should know a little something about DuPont.
I know John DuPont.
Maybe the chemicals got in your brain, and that's how you became the way that you are. But
I'm not taking any of this disrespect.
Manufacturing process began commercialization of chromium dioxide media. The first Crow 02, a.k.a. cassette, was introduced in 1970 by Advent, and later strongly backed by BASF, the inventor and longtime manufacturer of magnetic recording tape. Now, that's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
Next, coatings used magnetite, such as TDK's Aldua, were produced in an attempt to...
Honestly, this is starting to get kind of a little bit boring. So just, maybe we
can end the segment. You know about tapes. Somehow I know about this shit. I know about cooking illegally and tapes.
There you
so,
go.
Thanks for listening. Yeah. Check out my show.
We're going to check
Hungry
it out.
Guys. Me and my brother Ron. It's amazing. You're not going to hate it. You might dislike it a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to be good. And National Recording Studio. This is an official endorsement of National Recording Studio. You better check that shit out.
Thank you, Don. Thank you for coming on the show. It's pretty good. Check in. Make sure to check in. There is going to be more Hungry Guys. But that's provided they don't go to jail first. So if they have, thanks for tuning in. And now we do our pledge to Lou Otten's Rest in Peace, Lou Otten's theme song. Here we go. Take it away.
Rest in peace.
So moving on. We got some more segments for you before we wrap it up for today. Thanks for tuning in. Big shout out, Mike Haley. Thank you for coming in and coming into the studio. And
brief anecdote. I remember my first cassette tape. There's like three big ones. Potentially four, although I'm starting to think. I think it's actually it was a CD, so that doesn't count. Tapes are not CDs, and CDs do not count as tapes. But tapes do count as CDs because they're cash deliveries, depending on how you look at things. But I remember we had the first one that I can really. It is four. Now it's four. It was four, but we redacted that one. So there's 5 total, but one of them's been redacted. And this one, so there's the Macarena. I remember the Macarena tape, like English. I am not trying to do You don't want me and my boyfriend. On your boyfriend. Something like that. I don't know. But we had that tape, and then we had Whitney Houston. I just want to dance with somebody. I just want to dance with someone. That one was really good. I remember loving that tape. Ooh, I just want to dance with someone. I really need to dance with someone. I just remember just like the screaming and the beats and like the bass. That's the thing about the tapes. They got really good bass quality on them. And then it was Space Jam soundtrack. Cannot fucking go wrong with the Space Jam soundtrack. Especially if you're sipping espresso and listening Pink version. So fucking good. It's like the express lane to bliss. And it's how you express your love for Space Jam the soundtrack. And it's so good. And then the other one, I forget. The one I redacted was going to be Candle in the Wind, Princess Di version. Never that was actually a CD. With the might have even been called 5,000 Candles in the Wind. I might be mixing that up with like fake when the rain reality. But and the other, so that's two. Oh, and the huge one, my Uncle Ed, I believe, is their Uncle Ed or Uncle Dave? They gave my mom Zeppelin 2 on cassette, and we were never allowed to listen to Lemon songs. I had the Nissan Sentra 95, you know, silver, and it had a tape player in it, and it was smart to seek to the, like, it would detect silence and stop. So that's pretty cool. Simple limiter technology, you know, pretty good. Pretty good. And then, but yeah, I love that album. First introduction to stereo panning for me personally. We try to predict what side what side it was going to be next, and it would always fuck us up. So technically, that might have been the first time I was tripping. Not on drugs, but tripping out to like, what the fuck, there's two speakers? Jesus. And then, yeah, Macarena, Space Jam, Whitney Houston's, and Zeppelin 2. And then the redacted Elton song for Princess Di, who weirdly enough died, and that's why I made the song. Again, this is originally for Norma Jean's. Okay, so those are my first tape memories, and I just felt like it was important to share that with y'all. God bless.
Oh, that's nice.
Good day. Hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No problem.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Anyone there?
This is, you've reached Delaware Dan.
Dave. Yeah. Alex.
Dave. What's good?
I think it's just me and you. I was trying to... Alex Holman was on the line. I was trying to conference call it. I think he's there. He's recording this.
I'm recording right now.
Alex, you there?
I'm here.
I can't talk anymore. I gotta go back to work.
Hello?
Okay. All right.
Bye, Alex, if you can hear me.
See you, Dave.
Hello?
Hey. I could hear your conversation. All right, real quick.
What's up?
Real quick, Delaware Dan calling. Real quick.
Jesus Christ.
Why tapes? Why cassette tapes?
White tapes?
Yeah.
Most ergonomic medium, at least in terms of analog mediums, are concerned.
Sounds pretty good. And do they have any kind of special qualities that they enhance or anything like that for music?
You have what?
Any kind of enhancing qualities on them?
You said the word enhancing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's tape. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Depends on who you are. You know, what your ears like to hear. Yeah, I mean, it certainly has its characteristic.
That's pretty good. All right, I gotta keep moving. I'm cold calling a bunch of people down the row, so I'm gonna call you back. But thank you for your input. One right after the other.
has been forwarded to...
Hello.
Hey, Tom.
What's going on, Alex?
Not much. How you doing?
Pretty good, bud.
Hell yeah. No, I'm just dropping a line.
Where you at?
I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm living down here now. It's fucking not winter. All winter long.
Oh, that's nice.
It's pretty good. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
You still
staying busy?
Yeah. You see Craig?
Yeah, I ain't seen Craig in a while. He's kind of hibernating.
That's what I heard.
Because of this corona and shit and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some health issues, so he's just kind of sticking to himself. Him and Noel just kind of hanging out with each other, you know?
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what we can do. I got a good plan.
Okay, natural cocaine fly. How can we get you fucked up?
Yeah, I was trying to buy like 2 cocaines. You got any tapes with cocaine in on them?
Sorry, sir. We're all out of cocaine, but we got ketamine. The kids love it.
What's the difference between ketamine and cocaine? Because I heard it's a price difference. Is they just charging?
I don't know. I just tell the shit, man. I don't know.
I got a real quick question. We'll keep it brief. Why cassette tapes?
What?
Why cassette tapes? Delaware Dan's trying to figure out why cassette tapes. What's the buzz?
You're breaking the fuck up. I can't hear anything you're saying.
Why cassette tapes? Why are we doing?
Why cassette tapes? Because I like plastic. I like destroying the planet.
You think about the tape is going to be in the earth forever. And it's going to.
Dude, it's not going anywhere, man. It's eternal.
It's going to be clogging up the ecosystem and killing fish when we're flooded out.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm all about, baby.
It's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Well,
what's up, dude?
Not much. So that's going to be in. I'm going to cut this part out.
No cause.
This is. Damn it. All right. That wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to work no way. All right. So how come? I want to know. Is this thing on? I want to know how no one done made this observation yet. Just sitting here thinking about stuff, but like, didn't DJ Screw? I think he was using them tapes. You know, I think he was using tapes. And that's how he got the. He slowed them down. You can make them sound really low like this, like you're Chris Christopherson or something. Don't do that, Blade. Don't do that, Blade. So I kind of think about, if he's chopped and screwed Chris Christopherson, then, it's probably pretty good. All right, Delaware Dan, no problem. All right, Delaware Dan with a new announcement. If you and your family suffered from traffic jams that resulted in the loss of stool during a high-octane sonic stress stimuli emitting from the tip of the frothing tip of the tip frothing tin, tip frothogen, and tip froth tip dippers, then no problem. Call now. Call Delaware Dan for a free dirty chai latte enema that were all present for the birth of the concept of birth itself. Call 302-024-4200. Call Delaware Dan. And, a couple things to think about moving forward is how often do you listen to tapes? Send your answers in to Delaware Dan at 420 Cemetery Lane, 69 Road, extension 69 at gmail.com, Wilmington, Delaware 19808. Just send us a little, drop a line, come on down. We're in Pike Creek. We're down there at the, what used to be the Pike Creek Bowling Alley. It's not there anymore. It's filled with bullet holes. I don't know what happened. it's not a shootout. I think some kids were just throwing rocks at it or something, or doing target practice. I don't really know. It's overgrown. I think Mother Nature took back the charcoal pit down there. So come down to Pike Creek where we got heroin. Also shout out Caddies down on Gulf Boulevard in Madeira Beach, Florida. Good place to get cold beer and COVID-19. So come on down and kill your grandma. All right, Delaware Dan, thanks for tuning in. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Up in Delaware Dan. I've got this Delaware Dan that won't Delaware. Delaware. Delaware at you in Delaware. Delaware tonight. Now I've got Delaware in my den. With the Delaware den. Fuck you, Delaware den. Delaware Dan. Fuck you, Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Delaware. On down. Ding ding tonight. Delaware Dan. Fuck you, Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Fuck you, Delaware Dan. Delaware Dan. Shout out all the tapes out there. People doing tapes. People spending money on tapes. God bless you. But He won't bless you if you don't buy the tape that has the blessing of God in it. So you gotta buy the tape. But did I take you by surprise? This is the part where, this is what I'm imagining is they're going, now they're really making out. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna become a dad. This love was meant to be. Delaware Dan. This song's making me really hungry. Look at you, I can't discuss a hungry guy Dan. Alright, we're not doing Hungry Guys. That's just starting to sound like Hungry Guys to me. Are you sure it's not the same song? Holy fucking shit. God damn it. It's the same fucking song. How about that? Alright, well, fuck it. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, Delaware Dan. Tune in next week when we tally up the votes.
From the co-creator of Noise Detective, Miami Slice, comes In Search of Delaware Dan with Detective Vlad.
Delaware Dan. Presented by Delaware Dan.
I began my journey by getting on the train, and I realized that I was the only one not wearing a mask. So I buried my tail in shame and turned tail and got my tail out of that train. I decided I'd hitchhike, but no one would pick me up. I ended up getting arrested for hitchhiking, which ironically backtracked me several hundred miles. I knew eventually I'd make it to Florida, but I wasn't sure how. All I knew is I'd be kicking and screaming just to know where the fuck Delaware Dan went. Somehow, through an extremely complicated series of events, I made it to Florida, but only the state border. Technically, I was still in Georgia, but a forest fire obscured my way. I decided to hightail around the fire by jumping into the water. When I emerged, the wind carried me to a whole new Earth. Earth 2.1. A new Earth that is indeed spherical in shape, as well as omniscient. The planet's intelligence then summoned me to I-275, where I made my way to Hillsborough County, Tampa Bay. I crossed the bridge, but only after paying the toll exactly 2 pence. Forth, whence I then traversed the bridge, and I made it to Pinellas Point. The meeting of the pines, they say. I could tell I was on the trail of Delaware Dan. A Joe Biden sign was spray painted into the corner of the police station. Must be a Democratic mayor upon these realms. I continued into Pinellas Point, reaching Seminole, Florida. A Seminole's part of Florida. A wasteland of McDonald's and PDQs where people do mind their P's and their Q's. My accent has changed. I am still the same detective. I continued my search for Delaware Dan. Strip mall after strip mall, strip club after strip club, and stripper evading police for having broken into the Capitol building on June 6th. I did not disclose her identity to the police, however, I did.
I meant to say that February 6th. Sorry. Feb 6th.
Disclose her location and her PIN number for her device, and she was unfortunately apprehended by the police. Those police never saw the light of day. Ne'er shall they ever again. For I knew I was even closer to Delaware Dan's stench, for I could smell it in the air. But I realized it was a young man smoking a black and mild that had been hollowed out and replaced with marijuana, tobacco, which is in fact not tobacco at all, but marijuana. I continued my search for Delaware Dan, but I found no trace, though I heard a specific riff off in the distance. Yes, I could tell it was Delaware Dan, for this song was being played over the speakers.
Purple haze, doing pot, smoking drugs this time.
I approached the person responsible for putting this sound over the loudspeakers, and they turned out to be a scrawny little man who was in fact manning the soundboard. And I said, I am a detective. I says to the guy, I'm a detective sent here from the north, and I need to know, is Delaware Dan here?
I don't actually know what you're talking about. I'm just a sound guy, you know. Don't blame me. I just work here, you know what I mean.
I don't give a shit about that. I just need to know the whereabouts of Delaware Dan.
I don't know anyone named Delaware Dan, but you know, I gotta get back to my job managing this band here.
And what is this band called?
It's obviously Delaware Dan's band. That's what it says. Delaware Dan's band. One word, D-A-N-S. B-A-N-D. I don't know, I'm just the sound guy.
I'll let you to your work, sound page boy. But if you see anyone named Delaware Dan, you be sure to contact me. You can contact me by smoke fire, burn yourself, self-immolate on fire, and I will find you.
Alright, man, fucking weirdo creep, get out of here. whatever. See ya, okay, whatever. I felt I was close to the trail when I realized the following morning, after having passed out in the bushes outside of the bar, I never made it to the beach that day, now that I think of it. But I did pass out in the bushes next to the bar, between the bar and the beach. I was passed out in those bushes and covered in gull feces, as well as osprey feces, as well as other types of fowl, and the feces from which the fowl emits. Delaware Dan, you're not far from me, I can tell. Wait, what's that? There's a car, suspiciously, with a Delaware license plate. Perhaps I shall investigate. Excuse me, sir. Whoa, man. I don't know you. Get away from me. What are you doing in this car? Just gotta mind your own business, man. Just get out of here. I think you know what I'm talking about. You haven't said anything yet. Why would I know what you're talking about? I'm saying, where is Delaware Dan? You mean the band that played yesterday? Yes. Wait, band. So there's more of them. There's a one-man band. It's called Delaware Dan's Band. You never heard of them? No, I haven't heard of them. Of course I've heard of them, you silly mock me boy. I shall smack you on your bum with a sword. Okay. I knew that night Delaware Dan's Band would be playing again at the bar called Caddy's, a fine place to receive a cold beer and COVID-19. I did not go in, for I was not cool enough to make it past the parking lot. However, I knew Delaware Dan would be coming out soon for a set break. Excuse me, sir. Are you, in fact, Delaware Dan?
Sir, I don't know any Delaware Dan. I don't know who you're talking about. You're going to step back there. If you just wait for 1 second, I'll be right with you. Excuse me, hold this real quick.
And he made his escape, although I was sure I had scared him off, knowing that he in fact had caught a tail. So it was my turn for my tail to follow Delaware Dan's tail, to tail the tail of the tail. And thus is the tale of Delaware Dan's current whereabouts. I have ascertained. He is going by a man named Florida Fran, who has an unhealthy obsession with Delaware of the North. However, it is Delaware Dan himself, I'm sure of it. But my visa has expired and I must return to a made-up continent on Earth 2.1 that does not exist ever.
Alright, so there you have it. They never found Delaware Dan, and he's definitely not in Florida. So, those are the facts. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Next week, we got the return of Bayview Bunkies, and a couple special guests lined up to call on the flip phone, Delaware Dan Temple Marketing Telecommunication Podium. Thanks for tuning in. Delaware Dan. Hungry guys.
I feel the magic between you and I.
Wait a minute, hold on. This is supposed to keep fucking this up. It's supposed to be Delaware Dan, not Hungry Guys. God damn it! God fucking damn it! All right, tune in next week. Fucking shit.